problem with authentication today is that mostly it's driven from people sending you text messages. And I guess that pretty much everybody watching this video has received a text message with a 6-digit code in it. I have, in fact, yet to meet the person who finds that a pleasant experience. And there are potentially some security risks with it. But the key is that carriers have the technology to allow us to be able to provide a more secure and a simple way of being able to check what your phone number is and to check that the SIM has not changed since it operated previously. And we think that many of the scenarios where you currently are receiving these so-called OTPs or one-time pins through the medium of SMS can be delivered more simply by carriers by allowing them to check automatically what your phone number is and to check that the SIM hasn't changed. And we think this offers real potential. Now, interestingly enough, out in the rest of the payments world, we're finding that there are increased demands on companies to do more authentication. And so people are receiving more of these messages. And in the short run, it looks good for carriers because the number of SMS messages they're sending is going up. But in the long run, the fact that this is not that convenient for consumers, and even worse, for every 10 of those messages you send out, you only get 9 transactions back. It's somewhat of a conversion killer. Not as bad as a password, but still something where you lose transactions. The impetus will push people forced to send out these SMS messages, will push them to go and find another technique. And that's really what we're trying to do, to try to make sure that carriers are still the trusted source when it comes for authenticating your mobile device, which really should be the case. Well, we are building a global network which allows us to do these silent authentications together with the carriers around the world and selling it to some of the world's largest brands. But I can tell you that we're having significant discussions with global payment schemes, with other big global payment companies and some of the world's largest brands. I mean, effectively what it's doing is taking some of the technology that is used in carrier billing and unbundling it from the actual billing at the back end. So if you charge something to your phone bill, then there's probably only a certain number of things, partly for regulatory reasons, partly for consumer reasons, that you really want to charge to your phone bill. But the authentication technology that carriers have is something that if you can bolt it onto another payment method, can then be relevant in a much, much larger universe of transactions. And that's very much what we're trying to achieve. Expand the universe of transactions where carriers can play a role and earn revenue.